There is a problem in universal billing. We know that that job is running late. We've got a job that's running too long. That service is late. Its anticipated end time is this time. Its deadline is this time. And I have 42 minutes and 27 seconds between the two before I have a service breach. That's the kind of extrapolated information that Control-M gives you in the case of actionable intelligence ahead of time when you use this as an application management platform. And that means that not only you can see it operationally, but I can present it to those individual stakeholders in an easily consumable manner where they can go to a website or pull up their tablet app or pull up their mobile phone app and actually see this information so that they know that universal billing is on time or not, or my inventory management is on time or not, or my materials replacement process is on time or not. This is the kind of power that Control-M places in your hands that you are spending time and iterative cycles creating that you don't have to. When we talk about it from the standpoint of why we use Control-M, it's really because of all of the orchestration. We have spent so much time creating an application management platform, a workload automation platform that takes all of the technology that you have in your enterprise and puts it into a management tool that can orchestrate all of those functional processes across your enterprise without you having to write the automation. So whether I'm looking at more batch-oriented types of things, running scripts or commands, or if I need direct third-party integrations to Hadoop and web services and running Java and talking to my third-party ERP-type tools like SAP, PeopleSoft, and so forth, all of the little boxes that you see at the bottom of this screen, all of them are direct integrations that have been specifically created to directly interface with those individual automation tool or those automation portions of your applications because we all use them. We use Informatica, we use Cognos, we use DataStage, we use Oracle, we use SQL Server, we use Sybase, we use backup management systems, we use Hadoop, we use the ERPs, we go into the cloud, and we use tools like Amazon Web Services and VMware and BladeLogic to automate all of our workloads, all of these processes that are underlying our applications. And we do it in an object-oriented way so that you have the ability to build the objects, associate them together using predecessor-successor relationships, and surround them with automation and notifications to better understand the health and temper of those objects as they go through the day-to-day process of execution. When we think about it from the standpoint of the simplicity of the tool, it has to be simple. Object orientation is one thought process in that. But we also have one single management graphic user interface that's there to allow you to create the stuff of automation, those jobs, those processes that you need to run, to monitor them actively, to handle the calendaring portion of it. What days of the week, days of the month, days of the year do I have to run these jobs on? Create versions of those jobs. So if you make changes, that you actually have the ability to roll forward or roll backward in those versions because of some kind of root cause analysis process, or to compare the two, saying this is the most current version of this process, this is the one back, what's the difference between the two, because the current one fails more often than the previous one did. To actually have control over the environment so that I know how I actually use my resources, to actually understand and make changes to my individual workloads based on things happening in the environment. I lose a machine, and I need to reroute work from one machine to another. I can make those changes very, very quickly inside of Control-M without having to do it job by job by job using a workload policy. And I also have the forecasting capability. What's going to happen tomorrow? When that happens tomorrow, what is the effect of me taking on 200,000 more transactions in this individual part of the process? It's going to cause that process to run 90 minutes longer than it normally would. What does that do to that job and the jobs downstream from there and their individual deadlines? All of those things are encompassed in this Control-M application management platform. And the graphic user interface is integral to that so that the presentation of that is easily digestible for you, that it's easily able to create the orchestration and easily gives you the ability to manage the environment quickly. The views are going to be very color-oriented so that you have the ability to vibrantly see what's going on. And there are different types of views, obviously. You have the ability to see things in flowcharts and then list views and those types of things. But we'll start with what we call the flowcharted view. And this is the past. This is the historical view, because history shouldn't be a report. History should be an active tool, a tool that will show you what happened yesterday and give you the ability to play those things back so that I can go back in time and say, this is 1 o'clock in the morning, and I want to see every event that took place before this happened at this time. And have the ability, just like I do at home with my DVR, to start and stop a program. Right-click on the individual entity that's there and look at its log information and the output that was collected by Control-M when that execution occurred, so that you can do that root cause analysis process. You also have the ability to go out there and see that same thing for what's going on today. Except now today, I'm automatically giving you information about the processes. You can bring up that one window about your piece of the world, your application, those processes that are being orchestrated by Control-M. And it will continuously give you information about what's going on without you ever touching the keyboard again. And that same view is available for my forecast so that I can actually see anticipated start and end times, how things are hooked together, and even ask that what-if question, which is down there in the bottom right-hand corner. For that job, HIPAA 26, I'm actually saying, I want to know the effect on an increase of the job's execution time. What happens if it runs 50% longer than normal? And actually have forecast present to me the effect of that change. Forecasting shouldn't be a report either. It needs to be an active tool, and Control-M provides that to you every single time. When we talk about the dynamic control of resources, we had that job that was running along in the beginning of this presentation. We have to remember that there are consequences to everything that happens in our infrastructure. In the case of the job that's running along, the reason why it's running along is because the CPU is pegged for whatever reason. In that normal thought process, when that happens, somebody picks up the phone and says, hey, this job is running too long. They go look at the box. They see the CPU is pegged, and all of a sudden somebody says, yeah, I have to cycle that machine, or I have to take it down because there's something wrong with it. And you need to make, as the application owner, some strategic moves in your process to make sure that you still hit your deadline. Some of those things are instructions to a application management platform like Control-M to move work from the current machine that is having the trouble to a machine somewhere else. I can do that with a single rule, where I can say, for all the jobs that are running, on this case, App Server 40, I want to stop running them right now. So anything that was in flight will finish, but nothing else will come behind it. And then I can go out and say, yeah, for anything that's on App Server 40 right now, I want to reroute all of that work to App Server 60 because I know that App Server can handle the work, it can do the work, and I want to dynamically move those jobs immediately. One rule, something you can turn on and turn off. I don't have to go to each individual part of the process in each application that is being orchestrated by Control-M and handle each individual entity. I can do it all at once using a single rule. That's the power of an application management platform. The ability to take strategic actions very, very quickly to react to a situation that creates a problem in your application. You also have the ability, as part of that object orientation, to create workflows that span any kind of technology in your enterprise. And it is a drag-and-drop type of scenario, a template set that's out there for all of the functions Control-M can orchestrate. And you drag them into a workspace, and you create the relationships between them, predecessor-successor relationships, automation rules that go along with notifications, and how you react to certain things occurring. All of those being a single business process, but not caring where those technologies are actually housed in the enterprise. So whether I have a ZOS type job from the mainframe that triggers off something in distributed, that then triggers off file transfers and load jobs into SQL Server, and iSeries jobs on the AS400, and web service calls, and cycling up of EC2 processes and things like that. All of that can be done as a single orchestrated process. It's not something I have to silo because of technology. It's not something I have to silo because of hostname. It's something that I can do across the enterprise in one single set of definitions in a single workflow. And again, we're trying to do that so that we provide the simplicity that's needed to give you the power that an application management platform like Control-M can give you. That also can be something you also, as the application owner, can farm out to the rest of the development team. We know that applications are built by multiple people. We know that there's a change management process that has to be gone through. We know that there are going to be things that you need to create in the world to have those applications run properly, either real time or in a batch type of mode. To give those folks that are doing the application development the ability to create that work and make requests of Control-M and the people that are responsible for the application management platform to create the work, make the changes, all those types of things can be also farmed out to the application development teams, so that they don't have to necessarily send an email, open up a ticket, send a spreadsheet, whatever it happens to be, to instruct someone about what they need to create, what the orchestration object really needs to look like. They can do it themselves over the web. Again, something that is part of the Control-M application management suite of tools that you can apply to allow this creation of work to be not only centered to a management platform set of people, but also to disseminate it to those who actually know what needs to be created. You also have audit and compliance, and we spend a lot of time on this. We have to be able to version our work. So if you make changes to a job inside of Control-M, whatever that process is, Informatica jobs, Cognos, whatever it happens to be, that I know what the differences are between the two, that I have comparison tools that give me the ability to see those things in a root cause analysis mode. And I can do that graphically as part of Control-M, where I can actually pull up version 1 and version 2 of a given job and actually see in version 1, it was on host group app server Fin 01. In version 2, it's in Fin 05, and give me the ability to revert if I want to, or export this data out to give to whoever needs to know. And then also to understand what actually happened in a business process, where I can actually say, in the middle of the day, all of a sudden, something happened. A job failed. I have some kind of issue with that job, and Bob went and restarted it. All of those things are audited. So I know when Bob did that, what time and day he did it, and why he did it. And I can report on all of those things, so I can actually see when those things happened, who did them, what their from and to types of values were, what their usernames were, and the why information. I can actually collect it, and I can actually do it in a very controlled way, where I can actually say, I don't want to audit all of the job changes, but I do want to audit all of the functions that happened during the night. And I want to not only audit them, but also get the why information, or what we call annotation. So I can actually say, oh, you're going to restart this job. Before you do that, you need to tell me why you're doing that, and actually collect that. So in that report that you see here, you actually see on this day and time, this person tried to do this operation, and this is why they did it. So that when you go through the audit process, that doesn't become a unwieldy research project 6 months after the change happened. It's something that you have data for immediately and can give to your individual auditor or whomever is asking for it. Another great feature that provides great value when we think about the application management platform, when we think about the orchestration of all of these individual components and the value of having this information available to me regardless of what I'm actually running, how they actually work together. All of those things become individual entities that I can manage a single component instead of doing it one by one in place, app.